Yeah, so welcome everyone. So as Pumi mentioned about me, I will go through the fundamentals of audio engineering. So today I will cover what are the things we need to build inside the studio and how the studio will be and the bit of history about the audio engineering. So when we are talking about a topic, we will surely need to know what is the history of that area. So for the audio engineering, you may know that we are pre producing some songs, audio for a film or something. We have a long history for that section as well. So you may have seen that there are big mixers that we can see when we go to a music show or something. But when in back in the days, we don't have those big technological mixers that we can use. But on that day, we only have humans and only one mic for a session. So we nowadays we can like record a song cutting by cutting bit of bit and starting from the beginning or starting from the middle. But back in the days, we don't have the technology to do that. So in order to do that, the audio engineers, the musicians, the players, already all of them need to do the session at once. So for an example, if we are recording a song, we need to record it at once. Like the singers and the orchestra need to be performed at once, and the audio engineer need to record at that song at the same time. So if someone do a mistake, maybe a singer or maybe the instrument player, they need to start from the beginning. So you may have seen some faders. I will show in next slides. There are faders in mixers that we can reduce volume or get the volume higher. So those will be connected like the singers. If the singer is singing, we need to make the singer's volume is higher than the other instruments. So back in the days, those faders are not there. So they need to physically move the person in order to get the highest sound for the output. So they have a mic that, as you can see in this picture, they have a mic placed inside the studio in the middle, and the singer will be near for that, and the drummer will be far away from that. So the person will be the fader on those days, and they need to try multiple times to get the correct sound, and then they need to they need to do the recordings. So that is how the past have done the recordings, and the output will be recorded into a single tape machine. So in this one, you can see that analog tape machine. So once the section is ready, the audio engineer will hit the record button, and the orchestra and the singer will do their job, and the song will be recorded at once into this analog tape machine. As I told you earlier, if someone does a single mistake, they need to rewind this tape again back to the starting point, and then they need to start from the beginning. The song need to start from the beginning. So nowadays, we don't have to do those troubling things. We have most advanced technologies to record audio. Like for an example, we can like speaker, we can make a singer. The speaker, we can make him a singer inside the studio nowadays. So in here, we can see these white icon items. Those are the faders that I mentioned earlier. So instead of these items, the physically the person need to move from the speaker. So what is this consoles? So we have two types of console that we are using when it comes to audio engineering part. We have the split console and the inline console. You can see the split console have multiple meters, and there are multicolors faders here. So the inline console is bit than the split console. The main difference of the split console and the inline console is there are two sections that split console has and this inline console does not have. So you know that we are adding some effect to voices like echoing and reverb things to audio, the audio that we are getting inputs. So the split console have a different section that we can control these effects that we can add to the input that we are getting. The inline console, we don't have a separate section on that one. We have a single fader or a knob that we can control these effects inside that console. So you can see this single line, we call it a channel strip. This is channel strip, and the inline console, we have a knob here to control the effects. But this in the split console, we have this separate section to change that effect that we are adding as the inputs. So you got to know that we have two types of console that we can use. These console will be used in the outstation musical show or an indoor musical show. Inside the studio also we can use this console, but these are very high expensive items. So in order to get these, like in Sri Lankan price nowadays, these will be more than 6 lakhs or 7 lakhs, these types of consoles. So for in Sri Lanka, majorly we are using this console for outstation some music shows that you are seeing. Okay, so so that is the console that we are using. When the major difference in other than the history of the audio engineering and the newest technology. So the main topic that I'm going to talk about, what we need to do a basic recording. So if you have these items, you can also do a recording inside the room of your house or an office room or somewhere. So you need to have mics. You need to have the cables in order to connect these mics to the audio interface that I mentioned in the third item. So record and do the post-production, adding the effects and other things, we need to have the DAW. We call it DAW. That is the digital audio workstation. And also you can you will remember that when I call it as the software that we use to record the audio from the PC. And also we need to have monitors. I have mentioned it as monitors, not as speakers. I will tell you why I mentioned it as monitors in this item list. So we have microphones, various microphones that we can use to record audio inside the studio room. The main thing is we cannot use the ordinary microphones that we can buy from anywhere, because we need to get the every bit of details that we need to record for our audio section. So for the microphones, we will use the condenser mics, the name called condenser mic, because it has a condenser placed inside that microphone. To power up this microphone, we need to give a separate power to that microphone as well. For the 48 volt power, we need to give to the microphone. Then only the condenser will be power up and start to picking the every bit of details that the microphone hears. And the main thing I that mentioned from the previous one also, it's applied to here. These are also really expensive. And the thing is, when we can possibly get an expensive one, it will be a good sound quality microphone. So I have mentioned some condenser mics that like globally everyone will buy, and the most Sri Lankan also buy. The Audio Nova and the Audio Technica, Rode, AKG, Newman, those are the like most favorite brands that we can get from the market when you go to the audio engineering shopping. So you need to have this microphone in order to do a better recording. These microphones are built to do the recordings only. So you can use this in a like some concert or something, but it will be like picking all the sound that that this mic will hear. So it will get into feedback again from the speakers. So you need to get the microphone as the first item for your studio, and you need to have the cables in order to connect these microphones with the audio interfaces and other equipment that I'm going to mention. So we have different types of cables, that is XLR, male and female, and we have TRS, TS, and the MIDI cable. So the XLR cable is the main cable that we are going to use to connect mics to the audio interfaces or the consoles. And also the instruments to the console or the audio interface. So the TRS and TS is the standard cable you may see everywhere, that we can also see in everywhere. So the smaller version of this TRS cable is the cable that we are using to plug into your phones, mobile phones. What is this TRS and TS? TRS stands for tip ring sleeve. So you can see the mentioned item here. It has the tip and the ring and sleeve. So this will be carried the audio signal in stereo way. You know that we can carry the audio as left right thing or the mono thing. So the mono thing will be no difference in if we heard from two speakers. For the stereo signals, we can see the difference from we can hear the difference from the two monitors or those speakers. So the TRS will be carried the stereo signals. So the TS only have the tip and the sleeve that not has the ring part. So it will carry only a mono signal. So you will need one speaker to hear the every sound that the sound is played. So the MIDI cable, this is a special cable that used in the home studio or a small studio that connect this keyboard. This is a MIDI keyboard. So the special thing about this MIDI keyboard is this keyboard has no any sounds inbuilt to that keyboard. So what is the thing we can do from this keyboard? We need to connect this MIDI keyboard to the computer that we are going to record. So it will be connected through this MIDI cable. Or nowadays we have the USB connection as well. So previously we have this MIDI keyboard connected through the MIDI cable that I shown here, or else we can connect the USB cable as well in nowadays. So if in order to play some instrument, you need to select the what are the instrument that you are going to play from the computer, and it will be played from this MIDI keyboard. That is the specialty of this keyboard. So whatever the thing you want to play, you can play from this keyboard. It's like you can play tabla, violin, guitars, or anything. Anything you can play from this keyboard. Whatever the instrument that you are picking from the PC, it will play the sound according to the settings you given to this MIDI keyboard. So that is why I mentioned that the smaller studios has this MIDI keyboard because they can do whatever the audio production with any instruments they like. Okay, so we need microphones and we need cable. And the main thing we need is the audio interface. I shown you the console, the audio console that is the bigger one. So we have the smaller version to use inside this home studio or bedroom studio. This is the audio interface. So this will be mainly used to convert analog to digital. So what is this analog to digital is? So the microphone that we got, the condenser mic, is picking the noise that the mic is hearing, the every bit of noise, and it will be coming through to this audio interface through the cable that I mentioned earlier, and it will be a full electric signal. That is a full electric signal, and the electric signals cannot be read by the computer to record that signal. So in order to convert these to like machine understandable way, this audio interface will be converted this signal to digital signal, ones and zeros. So our voice, we will be hearing our voice from the monitors after converting through this audio interface. So the microphone will be picking the completely electric signal, and when it comes to inside this audio interface, it will be converting that signal to digital. So these audio interfaces will be surely have the ability to give the 48-volt that I mentioned earlier to power up that condenser mic. So you can see this small red icon here. If we if we press this button, the condenser mic will be power up and starting to picking the noise. So we have some brands that we can buy in Sri Lanka as well. The most favorite brand in Sri Lanka is the Focusrite. That is the top one. So we have some budget audio interfaces as well, and also like this, the high-end audio interfaces as well. So the brands that as I mentioned, the Focusrite, M-Audio, Avid, Behringer, Prisoners, Steinberg, Universal Audio, Yamaha. Those are the most favorite audio interfaces in Sri Lanka. Other than that, there are many audio interfaces brands that produce these audio interfaces. around the world. So these are the affordable things in Sri Lanka. So you need to have these audio interfaces in order to connect the signals that we are capturing to get inside the PC. Okay, the other main part after the audio interfaces, we need to have this digital audio workstation that is called DAW as simple. So this is the software that we are going to record this audio to the computer. So we have Cubase, Logic Pro, Avid Pro, FL Studios, Reason, Ableton, Sonar, Reaper, multiple digital audio workstation we have around the world. Other than these mentioned items, we have so many other softwares as well. So this is the part that connect the audio interfaces to the USB. So it will pick the what are the signals coming as the digital that after converting analog to digital. So this softwares will be capturing that part, and this will be recording and do the mixing, mastering, and adding the effect as well. So after that, we have the studio monitors. I mentioned that I will tell you why we need to have the studio monitors other than the speakers. So these studio monitors is completely designed to installed inside the studio to hear proper sound. Why we can't use the speakers that we have like home theater systems or something that we have in this home? Those are like developed to hear the song like in colorful way. They have added their own colors to that theater systems to hear the voices and the noises that we are hearing in a beautiful way. But these studio monitors is developed to give us the sound in a flat way. So you will hear the when we record a bass guitar, you will hear that cracking bass guitar sound from the studio monitors. So we are using those studio monitors to do the audio production and we get the best outcome that possible. So we have two types of studio monitors that we can use, is the active monitor and the passive monitor. The active monitor are the like generally using monitors because it has internally built amplifier. With that monitor has the internally built amplifier. So we need to give a separate electric power to power up the monitors. Like if we need to get two monitors and we need to give two separate electric power to power up the monitors. And then we can directly plug that audio interface that I mentioned earlier to this monitor, and we can hear the loud noises after the conversion. So the passive monitors, it has no any built-in amplifiers. So it will be the speakers that you don't need to give any electric power. You can just keep it and plug into the audio interface, but you will hear like really low sound. For that, you need to buy a separate amplifier to power up the volume and give it to this audio into the studio monitors. So that is why we are mainly choosing the active monitors because it has the built-in amplifier and we can just directly plug our audio interface to these monitors and hear what are the sounds we are producing, what are the mixing we are doing from that software. So it will be a loud noise that coming from these studio monitors because these studio monitors is really high volume speakers. So the other thing is the studio monitors have different sizes. Why we have different sizes? Imagine you are building a studio inside your bedroom. So it may be a small room. So we don't need to go for a higher volume studio monitors. We can go for a smaller size studio monitors. Then you can reduce the cost as well, and that will be completely okay with your room. So that is why they have built the different sizes. Then you can go for what is the size of your room. So the image that I shown here is the Rocket 5 KRK, the KRK brand Rocket 5. It will be around like more than 60,000 from the Sri Lankan price. So these items are really expensive that I mentioned earlier as well. So you need to have these studio monitors in order to hear the sound that you are producing from the software. Okay, so those are the things that I need to cover to have a studio inside a room. So if you have those 5 items, you can do the whatever the recording or whatever the music you are going to produce. So I will now talk about how our room need to be created in order to do a proper studio audio engineering part. So you need to make the room completely soundproofing. So it may be difficult, but you need to try your best to do the soundproofing. So for that, we need to build a room inside the room that we are going to plan to create your studio. So if we have the bedroom, you need to create another room inside that room with some different materials, not with the concretes and all those things. So we need the possible thing that we can get from Sri Lanka is the rock wool, and if the rock wool is like more expensive, you can go for mattresses as well. So as you can see in this picture, you need to create a wall like this with these rock pools, and it will try to absorb uh, possibly more noises that coming from the outside, and the inside the room we don't hear that noises coming from the outside. That is why we are keeping a bit of space between those walls, two walls that we are creating to soundproof the studio. So why we need soundproofing? Because I have mentioned that earlier that the condenser mic that we are using is picking every bit of details that that the mic will hear. So if we hear some buses going, the horns that some bikers will play, so those if we heard those noises inside the studio, if we going to do a sound recording, those noises will be picking from that microphone, and you will hear that my audio so noises as well on your output. So that is a really big problem. So reduce that, we have the method to do the soundproofing for the studio you are going to build. So after this, we are not done creating the room for a studio. We need to do the acoustic treatments. Why we need to do the acoustic treatment? After you creating the wall, the main thing is your sound will be reflecting inside the room that you created. Imagine you are going to a conference hall or something. If you speak loudly, you will hear the echo of your voice. So that part cannot be happen inside the studio. Inside the studio, the sound need to be really dead. Sorry, sound need to be really dead. It's like when you do a clap inside the studio room, that clap need to be dead after coming the sound from your hands. You don't need to hear any reflecting sound from the walls that we have the inside the studio. So in order to do these acoustic treatments, we have some materials that we can use to cut the reflection, to add the absorbance, and do the diffusions. We can use the acoustic foams. Those are really low price that we can get, and we have multiple decorative items that we can use to do these acoustic treatments. So we can place those decorating items inside the wall to reduce the audio reflecting part. And the thing is, if we have the room room acoustic, the thing is when you do a mic recording again, the room acoustic will be again recording by the microphone. So in order to cut that, we need to have the acoustic treatment for the room that we are going to build. So after doing the acoustic treatment, this is the view that we can see the studio. So you may see in the studios that we have shown as I shown in the images. So the wall are decorating to a plan to do the acoustic treatment. So if the audio engineer plays something inside the walls, on the wall inside the studio room, that is not for basically for the decorating. That is the plan of the acoustic treatment that he or she done to the studio room to do the acoustic treatment. So as you can see, we can get multiple colors, we can get multiple design to do the acoustic treatment, and then we can make the studio inside look nicer as well. Okay, so all together, we have the recording studio and with the equipment and the proper sound managed studio with the low noise that we can do the recording properly. So do the acoustic treatment with the correct, nicer way to your studio without like placing whatever the place with whatever the items you bought. Try to do the best, nicer way to do the acoustic treatment. That is why I shown like this image. So altogether, we have the recording studio. With these simple steps, you can build your recording studio as well inside your home. Okay, so I have a small video that I need to show. That is the Abbey Road studio. That is the most famous studio that Michael Jackson and world famous artists recorded their songs. So let's see that video as well.
We are here in Studio 3 at Abbey Road Studios, where famously Pink Floyd recorded their Dark Side of the Moon album. We wanted to find out what really mattered when it comes to sound quality, so we came to talk to the experts here at Abbey Road Studios.
I would say the most important part of any recording is going to be your source, as in your musician. If you've got a bad musician with a bad instrument, you're not going to get a good recording. If you've got a great musician with a great instrument, you're going to get a good recording. The next is the environment, the acoustics.
The analog side is the beginning of the chain, obviously, real instruments in beautiful rooms. And then you still can't beat a big, large format recording console, especially for the size of orchestras and bands and productions that we do here. From an analog point of view, we choose our favourite microphones. We've got a huge microphone collection here, 800 or 900 microphones, ranging from, you know, ones that were released last year to mics from the 20s and 30s. The quality of the microphones is still as good as it was when they were first made, and it was the rest of the chain which limited the signal quality. We use a microphone quite often called the RM1B, which is a ribbon microphone. It's a really loose, flappy bit of aluminium in a big heavy magnet, and you wonder how it ever picks anything up. And actually, it doesn't sound technically great. It's got no bottom, no top, but it sounds cool. Yeah, what you've got, the noise floor's gone down on the microphones, and technically, you know, there'll be flatter frequency response across the whole audio range. But it's actually the character of the old mics, which everyone loves, the distortion characteristics that you get from the valves in them, which, I mean, is still appealing sound today. The best thing about professional studios these days is you're able to record from instrument into the digital world using all this wonderful old technology, and then once it's in your computer, you get the chance to then manipulate it with recreations of that same technology. The sampling frequency is the number of times in a second that you sample the level of the recording, basically. So obviously the higher the sample rate, the more detail you get in a second's worth of audio. And then the bit rate is the kind of depth of the audio. Let's say if you had 8-bit, there's 8 levels of volume really that you can get. 16-bit is what CD is, which is very good quality, and then now you can get 24-bit and even 32-bit for the kind of internal processing in the computers.
These days where you have the capacity to transfer 96 or 192K or whatever, we take the opportunity to do that. On paper, what people say you should expect is therefore a truer sounding bit of audio, a truer sounding bit of music, closer to the sound in the studio. All of this presupposes that the recording you're making in the first place is recorded well, with, you know, in a good environment with good microphones and etc. etc. All of the Beatles remasters were done at high res. All of Maria Callas's recorded output for EMI, which was some nearly 40 CDs worth of recordings we did a few years ago. And we made some comparisons of the initial remasters from the 1980s versus ours, which were done at 96K 24-bit. And there were several examples we deliberately chose. That there's an orchestral accompaniment to one of her arias with a triangle tinging away. Now, a triangle has a lot of harmonics going way, way up. And what we noticed, it's clear as day. You hear all of those harmonics on the high res, and you A/B against the original transfer, and it's chalk and cheese. It's like a veil has been lifted.
Obviously, the room acoustics have the biggest effect on your listening environment, but primarily people's lounges are aesthetically pleasing rather than kind of designed the best for sound. You know, the bigger speakers generally have more low end, better balance of sound. So yeah, my advice would be get the best speakers that you can for a room. And obviously you don't want massive speakers in a small room, and there's such a wide breadth of options and technologies out there these days. So you're kind of spoiled for choice.
Okay, so that is the Abbey Road studio, that the most famous studio that artists like to go and do their recording, because the best audio quality from that Abbey Road studio is cannot be compared to the other studio as well. So yeah, I hope you got something that you like from the recording engineering part. So if you have questions, you can ask.
Thank you, Sithum, and thank you everyone for listening in. Yeah, any questions, please do drop a message and then we will say it out loud so that Sithum can help us answer the question for you. So question 1 comes from Lishan. That is, Sithum, this question is for you. It says, being a software engineer, does it help when learning or studying audio engineering? So does being a software engineer help when you study audio engineering is the question.
Yeah, some kind of thing is that it might help, because we need to do thinking when we like placing the microphones and what is the issue we are facing on the recording side. So that resolving issues we are doing in the software engineering part as well. So that mindset is completely helping to do this audio studying and audio engineering part.
I hope that answered the question. So is there any other questions we can answer? We have about 2 minutes if anyone has a question. Okay, Manisha. So this question is from Manisha Sithum. She wants to know, do we also have a console at Creative Software? Do you want to answer that?
Yeah, we have a small console that you can see with the lunch area. So there is a small console that has the digital side as well. So and you can see this thank you image. We have a large console that has mainly the analog part. So the console that we have in the company is the digital side console. So yeah, we have a console.
That's great to hear, and I think you make use of it quite often as well. So we have another question. Probably if you have any more questions, please do send it in now, because in about 1 or 2 minutes, we are hoping to wind it up. We have one question from Senior. That would be, why did you choose a field like audio engineering? What was the reason?
Yeah, so I back in the school time, I like to do the music. So I want to know how the songs and the audios are making from the studio room. So that is why I going to study this audio engineering.
Great, thank you. And then we have Ralph, who has also asked one more question. How much would it roughly cost to create a home studio in a room? Good question.
Okay. Yeah, so in Sri Lanka nowadays, to do a proper, the proper soundproofing and with proper acoustic treatment, you will need to spend minimum 500,000 maybe, to do a studio room. Not the items, only the audio, the room.
But I'm sure you can start small and
Yeah.
and take it to another level with Sithum sir. If you ever want to have a chat with him, I think you can find him on
Yes.
LinkedIn. You can find him on Facebook. Quite popular around the singing forum. So do drop a message to him and get get any information you may need. There's actually another question, probably the last one, but if you do have any other questions, do send it in. That's again from Lishan. What's the
Best DAW.
what's the best DAW and the cheapest DAW available for a home user?
Yeah, the thing is, Nishan, we cannot say this DW is better, this DLW is better is according to the Cubase is better or the FL Studio better. That is like what is this? The audio engineer will prefer that some audio engineer will be good at FL Studios, but some will be good at Cubase. So they will be saying that the better one is the Cubase, better one is FL Studio. So when it comes to cheapest DAW, so in Sri Lanka, we mainly the studio rooms, they are using the cracked versions, not the paid versions. So they are like the cheapest one will be like 40,000 or 50,000 per year. They have the subscription packages for the Cubase. So yeah, I hope that answers your question.
All right, thank you. So that was a good series of questions that we received. We hope you all enjoyed and kind of got a good insight as to how to create this home studio that you might create or are creating at the moment or might create in the future. Like I said, we encourage our employees to do what they love, apart from just coding, which is what we're good at. So do connect with our teams, do connect with Sithum if you ever have a question when it comes to audio engineering. And we are so grateful that you joined us today and participated in this session. If you have no other, okay, we have one more question, Sithum. So quick last question before we wind up. What are the best software used to do mixing, etc.?
Yeah, the thing is that as I mentioned earlier, that we cannot say this one is best one or this one is the not good one. So it is like according to the audio engineer that they're using the software. So most probably Sri Lanka are the most favorably using the Cubase one in Sri Lanka because it has the cracked version that can get easily. So yeah, that there will be no like best software or something. So you can use whatever the software you are familiar with.
All right. Okay, do we have any more questions or can we wind up? Okay, we have one more question. I think Sithum, your session has been very insightful. People have a lot more questions. Why hasn't it reached to the mobile users? Probably.
Yeah, we have some kind of software that we can use for the mobile. As you know, that iOS has the most famous software, that GarageBand, that used to create most famous songs that you also heard when you are hearing songs as well. So that are used as also. But the thing is, the things we can do is not big as we can use that software in the PC. So the mobile screen is too smaller, and there will be the graph that we can see is bit smaller. So we can do the equalizing. That equalizing part is really hard on the mobile side. So that is why it's not going to mobile users that much when other than the PC. So you have some softwares that you can use to do this audio producting thing. So I hope that answered your question.
Great. So I think our time is also up. We plan to finish in 45 minutes so that we all can get back to our general coding sessions. And for everyone who has joined outside of Creative Software, thank you so much for taking the time. It was great to have you here at the Kata session with us. And to everyone who joined from Creative, thank you so much as always. And we hope to connect with you all soon next month for our next Kata session, and also our Tech Talk sessions will take place monthly. So thank you all once again for joining us and for tuning in to Sithum's Kata talk on fundamentals of audio engineering. We hope you have a super day and a super week ahead as well. Thank you so much.